Hi, my name is Kristina Nicole Goecker, and I am licensed, ordained, and endorsed through Open Bible Churches. I currently work at an Assembly of God church and have also worked at a Church of God Cleveland in the past. So what drew me to the Air Force chaplaincy? Well, I grew up as the child of an Air Force chaplain. So I grew up in that world and seeing that and being a part of the chapel and seeing the ministry it does, seeing the impact it would have on people's lives. And it was always something that kind of drew me to it. But then I was actually on a base when September 11th happened, and watching as the Air Force spun up for war, and then watching as the war went on and seeing all the sacrifices that everyone was making, the military member as well as the dependents and families. I just had just a real passion for them, and I wanted to help. I wanted to serve those who were serving and sacrificing in some way. And so the more I prayed about it, the more I thought about it, I just knew that I was called to the chaplaincy. When I think about pluralism, I like to think of a piece of art. And with a piece of art, you have, there's the canvas, but then there's all the colors that are a part of it. And, it's the contrast in the colors that provides the beauty of the artwork. And I think it's the same when you're thinking about pluralism and people. It's the diversity that you see, the different ways that people think, the different belief systems, the different just moral values, just how they process life, all those things that contrast and come together and make this beautiful mosaic that is humanity. And so when I think of pluralism, I think it's really beautiful. And in the same way that you have, like with that piece of art, if the artist had taken and put all the paints on their palette and had just started mushing them all together, you just get this really ugly color. It's all those distinct characteristics of the individual colors just kind of blend into this blandness. So I think it's important for people to be able to maintain those unique aspects of who they are. So when it comes to my role as a chaplain within a pluralistic setting, I believe it's very important to be able to provide for all the needs of the different Air Force members and their families. Whether or not I can directly provide for those needs will depend on, my own belief. I have to also maintain my own personal color, if you will, within the painting. And so if it falls within the realm of what my endorser has said and allows, and what my own moral belief systems, then yeah, I can do it. If it doesn't, if it's something that would cause that melding that shouldn't be there, then it would be up to me to help as much as I could to find someone who can provide for that need. So going to another chaplain or finding an off-base resource or even an on-base resource that would be able to meet the need of the individual that I would be unable to help. So my experience is working on a team. I have had the opportunity to work on many different teams, and from small, well-functioning teams and small, not so well-functioning teams to, large teams of all varieties. And a couple things that I have found to be true just across the spectrum would be that I am usually the peacekeeper. I'm very good at trying to help people bridge and develop an understanding for what each person is trying to say and what they're finding important and how they work that together into a cohesion, so that we're not having all these internal tensions that are just diverting from the mission at hand. The other thing that I have found to be true would be that I am also detail-oriented. I'm very good at hearing the vision, hearing what it is that we need to accomplish, what the goal is, and helping to figure out what needs to be done for this to be accomplished. And then finally, the other element of team, my what I've learned from my team experiences is that I'm really good at getting it done when it's time to execute. When the authority figure within the group, whoever has the reins, be it me or someone else, says, okay, it's time to act, I'm really good at getting things going and getting things accomplished. So then an example of this, I'm going to pull from just like a smaller short-term team that I worked on, and that would be within my MDiv. When I was helping in working on my MDiv, we had a class that was a chaplaincy focused class, and we had this assignment within the class to put on field services. And within that, we had to pick our location, we had to decide who was speaking, what was being, we all were doing our own service, and yet we had a short time, we had to get all these services done. And so as we were all talking, we had a couple take charge people in the group, and great people. But as I was listening and hearing things, I was like, okay, it's going to be important that we pick one location, because everyone was wanting their own unique locations for what they had envisioned for their field service. I was like, we will not have enough time to be bouncing all over campus. So I was able to start that conversation, and we were able to pick a location that met everyone's needs. Like once everyone started sharing what they were kind of wanting to do, it was easy to be like, okay, well, what about this? What if we do this loop that's like, it's like a mile hike, and we can all just alternate different locations along it. And so we were able to narrow that one down. And then the other thing that as we were talking, it was just going, okay, so we're all going to be doing these different services. They're all going to be right next, back to back to each other. And I was like, what if we try to actually pick a theme and actually do like a series that we all can build on each other's services, and so we're not all reinventing the wheel. And so that at first people were like, but eventually it was decided that yeah, we should try it, and we were able to put together this, and it all flowed really well, and we all got really positive feedback because we had found a unified location. We had managed to build, each of us had our own unique services, but we had coordinated in such a way that there was still that central theme that we wove throughout them, and it made it much more enjoyable for everyone else who was having to listen and participate in these back-to-back services. And then the part that I have found to be a great victory for me personally was that I was able to orchestrate all this without it seeming like I was stepping on anyone's toes. I was able to help provide peace within the group as the stronger personalities were wanting to clash, and they were all able to feel like they were heard and were able to take the lead. I don't think anyone quite realized how much of the planning I actually did, because I was able to direct things in such a way that it was smooth. And then we got it done. It came together. We had, maybe 2 hours to plan the whole thing, but we got it all together and got it all executed.